In this video, I'm going to talk about how you can protect your phone from being hacked, whether that be an iPhone or an Android device, because if a hacker gains control of your phone, it's possible they could then also use that phone to access your bank account or your investment account information to take your money. Welcome back. This is episode 246. The FBI has recently issued a nationwide warning about a new wave of smishing attacks spreading across the U.S. Now, smishing are fraudulent text messages that are sent to you through either short messaging service, SMS, or a text message, where the intent is to trick the recipient into revealing personal information such as social security numbers, bank information, credit cards, or passwords. In this episode, I'd like to talk to you about what those texts look like and how to avoid them, as well as steps that you can take to protect your personal cell phones from being compromised, and as a result of them being compromised, also having your investment accounts, such as your Charles Schwab accounts or bank accounts, that could potentially be money taken from them by these hackers. Now, I mentioned last week in my podcast and video that I'm coming up on 5 years of having my podcast. I've had a tremendous amount of success with the show, and I want to thank all of my loyal listeners. However, I know that I can be reaching even more people and educating even more people on how to plan the perfect retirement. To help me do that, it'd be great if you could leave a review of the podcast. There are two places that you can leave a review. One is through Apple Podcasts, and the other is on Spotify. If you have the Apple Podcast app on your phone, simply pull out your phone, open the Apple Podcast app, find my show by searching for Retire with Ryan, click on it, and then scroll down to the bottom where you can see my ratings. And then if you could leave me a 5-star review, that would be greatly appreciated. It is a little bit of a process, but I'm sure you could do it. If you are listening on Spotify, that's a lot easier. Just also find my show by searching for Retire with Ryan. And then if you scroll to the top, the rating is right there where you can leave me a review. It's very easy, and I would greatly appreciate it. So, smishing, as I mentioned, doesn't sound very harmful. It sounds quite innocuous, but it's causing big problems for many people. So again, smishing is where you're receiving a phishing text, a fake text that looks real. Now, I've been receiving a number of these recently. I'm guessing that's why the FBI is releasing this notice, and they look like legitimate text. The ones that I've received have been from a toll provider, like the state of Massachusetts or the state of New York, where I live in Connecticut. So these are close in proximity, and they're telling me that I have an unpaid toll and that I need to go on and click on this link and pay the toll. So I didn't click on the link. I try never to click on anything that I receive that I don't know what it is. And what I did was some investigating, and I found out that I didn't have any tolls owed, and that's kind of what alerted me to this and is part of the reason for doing this episode. And what the FBI has said, that there's more than 10,000 fake websites that these scammers have created. Now, you're being urged, if you receive a text message with a link or asking you to copy and paste a link, that you don't do that. You instead should really investigate where this is potentially coming from to find out if it's a real company. Like I mentioned, if it's a toll company, you could certainly reach out to that toll provider by calling them, or if you have a toll account, to check if it's real, because these fake domains look real. For example, if it was telling you that it was a toll, it might say easypassny.com, but then has an additional link, .ticket.d. So it looks real. You would think, okay, I have an EasyPass account, I have an unpaid toll, but you have to further look at the URL to look at the domain to know that it's not real. There's fake ones from DHL, FedEx, Easy Drive, SunPass, and these are all foreign domains that have been created by hackers, probably in China, other countries, where they're trying to get you to click into this information. So if you click into it, obviously, if you then put in your credit card information, you put in your social security number, that information could be used to open up other accounts in your name, to steal your identity, and it could get very bad from there. So you definitely want to be very careful about clicking on any of these links that you receive. Most of these companies would never send you a text message. They would send you a letter in the mail, possibly an email where you could then check the authenticity. So if you have clicked on one of these, you definitely should be reaching out to the credit card company to let them know if you provided your credit card information so you could freeze your credit card. You possibly could freeze your bank account information as well. So you want to be very careful if you have provided any of this information. Additionally, that if you click on one of these, you also could potentially download spyware or malware that could allow a hacker to take over your phone. And I'll talk about that in a little bit, but that would be very bad, obviously, if all of a sudden someone has access to your phone and all of the information that's on there. So what the FTC is advising is that if you do click on one of these links, if you have provided some of this information, you file a complaint at www.ic3.gov. I'll put a link in the show notes. And as I mentioned earlier, you also reach out to the legitimate company's website, if it's a toll company or package company, and contact customer service to see if something legit. You also should probably immediately delete this text message so that you don't click on it accidentally. And again, if you've revealed that personal information, you want to notify your bank, credit card company, maybe even go on to the different credit bureaus and freeze your credit. That's something you could do. You could reach out to TransUnion, Equifax, or Experian. You could lock your credit. You could freeze it. It's something I've advised in past episodes because that would prevent a hacker, somebody who's stolen your information, from doing anything with your Social Security. The FBI has had a 4-fold increase in scams since January of this year. I'm not really sure what's causing this, but I've also received other text messages that were for packages. Oh, you have a package that's out for delivery. Click here to check on it, right? That's another one that's getting people, especially with the volume of Amazon packages that we're all getting. It's possible you might think, oh, I'm getting notified about a package, but you have to be very careful. Now, there are other ways that your phone can be hacked, whether that be an iPhone or an Android phone. So now Apple has very good security, that Apple has solid security where they're trying to prevent you from downloading these viruses, downloading this spyware, this malware, but it can be hacked and it's possible that it could happen to you. So definitely downloading it, be careful clicking on anything, even on your phone, downloading anything. If you're being directed to go to a website and download something, I would strongly advise against doing that. Don't click on those links. And then also be very careful about public Wi-Fi. Public Wi-Fi, anytime you use public Wi-Fi, whether that be at an airport, at a hotel, anywhere you're traveling, you're running a high risk of downloading something that could be bad for you, and also somebody could gain access into your phone. This is what I believe happened to one of my clients. He was on vacation, and all of a sudden he wasn't able to get into his phone. Unbeknownst to him, we were receiving notifications that there was activity in his Schwab account. There was an attempt to wire money out of his account. Luckily, we caught it, and we notified Schwab, and they were able to shut down his account, stop the wire. But if we hadn't noticed this, it's possible that this could have gone undetected for a little while. And Schwab has certain guarantees where they'll back up clients' money and such. But again, it's not something you want to go through. So that's where you want to be very careful that anytime you're going on public Wi-Fi, clicking on any links, being careful about doing that. So someone obviously could also physically get a hold of your phone, and that's another way that they could connect your phone to a computer, where now they could introduce viruses or spyware, malware, so that they could be able to control your phone. So obviously you want to keep your phone with you, but even when it's with you, you want to be very careful about what you're clicking on and going on any public Wi-Fi. There's also something called a virtual private network, or a VPN, that you could put on your phone. There are different companies that will sell you VPN access, where it's an app that you'd put on your phone, you pay an annual fee, and this is an added layer of security that I believe encrypts your information anytime you're going on the internet. And it's still dangerous to go on public Wi-Fi with this, but I think there's more protection in doing this. So I personally have a VPN that I pay for annually that I use to protect my information. So it's something that you could do as well as another way to protect your phone and your data. So what are signs that your phone has been hacked? Well, If your phone is running poorly, if you're locked out of your Apple ID, if you have apps on your phone you didn't download, if family and friends are receiving like strange messages from you that they let you know about, if you can't get into your phone, right, that could be an indication. If you're all of a sudden using a lot more data on your phone than normal, or you've got a lot of pop-up ads. These are all examples of how your phone could be compromised, whether someone's taken control of your phone or you've downloaded some spyware or malware. So if you think your phone's been hacked, there is software that you can install on your phone that can scan for this malware. You also want to delete any apps that you didn't download. If there's other devices connected to your phone, under your Apple ID, you see that there's other devices all of a sudden on your Apple ID. You'd want to remove them. You'd want to change your passwords on your phone, update it, and you can also use the Find My Phone app to lock out any hackers from your phone, and then consider downloading a VPN. But you definitely want to reach out to Apple if you're having a problem with your phone. You think your phone has been hacked. Apple can be very helpful to get back control of your phone, because once someone has control of your phone, now they have access to your email, they have access to your text messages. So there's a number of things you should do to protect your stuff, your investment accounts, your bank accounts from hackers. But if someone gains control of your phone, now some of that protection doesn't do as much because they have full access to your phone until you can actually lock them out of your phone. So now, I mentioned a few episodes ago in episode 223, 7 steps to take to protect your Schwab accounts from hackers. And some of the most important steps regarding that are activating two-factor authentication on your investment accounts, whether that be Schwab accounts or other accounts, on your bank accounts, and also possibly putting two-factor authentication on your email, because therefore, if you need to get a text message to get access to your accounts and also your email, it's less likely that a hacker, even if they got your password and your account number, they might be able to try to access your accounts. But if they then needed that text message that was coming through for the two-factor, or if you had an authenticator app, it would be harder for them to do that. However, if they do gain access to your phone, then they already have all that information available to them. So they have full access to everything. So that's why it's extremely important that you don't click on these smishing texts, that you stay off public Wi-Fi, and that you also consider using a VPN, and be very careful about anything you're clicking on, you're downloading, so that you can keep your phone safe and your information secure. So again, if you have trouble with getting someone getting into your bank accounts, make sure to reach out to that institution. Make sure to reach out to your credit card companies, and then also reach out to your phone provider so that you can get access back to your phone and reclaim it. So hopefully you don't go through this anytime soon, and I hope you found this episode helpful. If you have any questions you want to have considered for a future episode, you can head over to retirewithryan.com and click on Ask a Question. And also, if you haven't left me a review, I would greatly appreciate you doing that. Have a great week, and I look forward to talking with you next Tuesday. Take care.